Am I good?
Yep.
Okay.
All good.
Hey, everybody. This is Katie, your favorite redheaded psychic medium, and I'm here to shoot another psychic on the scene. And tonight's topic, after going through your request, is about indigo children. So, what is an indigo child? Basically, I always say, everybody is psychic. I've never met a person that has said to me, I listened to my gut and it was wrong. It's always the other way around, where we don't listen to our gut instincts, our intuition, and we get ourselves in trouble. But what I do find is, as I'm talking to people about this or I'm out and about, that there are so many families that approach me, and a lot of times kind of timidly. They want to know if their 3-year-old child is talking to somebody that's crossed over, and it's changed from an imaginary friend to now they're saying that Papa's there, or they feel things when they're in school. So it's really about kids that have ability. So indigo children, there's indigo children, crystal children, and there's even they'll use the phrase rainbow children. Indigo children, the belief was, and I'm really encapsulating a lot of information, but the belief was that they were the answers to prayers during World War II, for things that were happening. And so these children were basically sent to help the planet. So the first ones were considered scouts, and to see how society would basically kind of take them on as they started to see and feel things. And what do indigo children see? They will see people that have crossed over. They might feel energy. They might get it through dream, or a lot of times in clairvoyance, things that there's no possible way that they could know. In that, they also have ones that are more on the scale of crystals, and those come later, many, many years later. But crystal children are the ones that have less like a fear of the ability that they have, and they are very healing. Those are your little people that in a doctor's office, say you're sitting there with them, and there's an older person, maybe in a wheelchair. They have absolutely no fear, and they'll get up and go over and give that person a hug. Hillary and I were talking beforehand. Well, my daughter was doing Hillary's makeup, making her glam, and
She's so good.
She's so good. And as we were talking about it, Hillary said that she had a story about her daughter, and her daughter is obviously an indigo child. So, Hill, if you want to say your story, tell your story. Yeah.
So one time.
Oh,
Okay.
we have no idea if this is going on there.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody, this is one of my handlers, Hillary.
Yay.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay. So about like 3 years ago, we were at Price Chopper, and it was like pouring rain, and me and my daughter Ryan, we were walking in the automatic doors, and we just got inside, and all of a sudden Ryan turns around. She's 3 at the time. Turns around and runs towards this lady outside. I walk up to her. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And Ryan's giving her a hug. I'm like, I'm so sorry. What's going on? She starts crying and bawling.
The woman did.
The woman did. Yep. And Ryan looked up at her, and she was like, everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And the lady looked at me crying. She said that her mother just passed. And, she wasn't in a very good state of mind.
Good mental
and state. That just changed her whole mood.
So really what she was doing, and other people might talk about this with their grandchildren or their own children, really what Rye was doing was she was feeling the woman's energy. She was empathizing with her energy, as well as needing to give her a message. And that's a lot of these kids, they have no filter. So typically it shows up right at the perfect age that you were talking about. Yeah. From 3 to 6 years old is when people usually talk about it. I was, the first time my mom recognized I could do it, I was 3 years old. So they even might talk about their other lives. So they'll talk about past life stuff during that, where they lived before, and they'll tell you whole stories about their other families. So with indigo kids, we find that they're more mediumistic. They see things in spirit. And crystal children, it's far more about the healing and the caregiving, and they have a lot more joy. Where Indigo can be a little bit heavier personalities, a little bit more serious about things, but they all will talk about the dreams. A lot of times they can't sleep in their own bed.
Night terrors.
They have night terrors. They actually have a fear of you leaving. They have real anxiety issues. And Sarah, my daughter, who has a lot of ability, she did a lot of that, where she had anxiety separation, and that's pretty common with kids that have. They need to know where their family, their people are, like basically in this lifetime. So some people had asked about reincarnation. Those Indigo children, they're definitely reincarnated and will kind of have an affinity for certain things. Like they'll be little people and they'll want to go see, the SS Slater. And they'll want to go to
a lot of information about things you have no idea about.
Right, right. Or they'll tell you about things you'll take them to New York City and they'll talk to you about when they lived down in New York City and they first came here with their family. And
or my favorite, Ryan's like, when I was your mom, or I'm your mother.
Yeah, because she remembers.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot.
Sarah, one time when she was a baby, and she was probably around 3 years old, but we were rocking in the chair and she still had her binky, so anybody that wants to give me crap about my daughter having a binky. Somebody one time told me about binkies. They said it's cheaper than therapy. Yeah. She doesn't have it anymore, so I guess we're all good. I guess we're all okay. But anyway, so we were in the chair, and I was rocking her, and she took the binky out, and she had her blankie, and she said to me, "Mommy, do you remember when we were here before?" And I said, "No. You mean in the big chair?" And she said, "No, I mean, do you remember the last time we were here and I was the mommy and you were the baby?" And I said, "No, do you remember that?" And she said, "Yes, and I lost you and I was very sad." And then she just went back to rubbing her face with the blanket. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God.
What's happening?
But Sarah had the connection with having psychic ability and knowing things were coming. She had a lot of premonitions about things and still does.
Right.
And would be woken up in the middle of the night and talk about that she would see the man. She said, the man doesn't bother me, but the lady shouting my name wakes me up. She didn't like the lady.
No.
So that brings me to another part of it. So do you encourage kids? Because everybody says, my child is gifted, kind of like tap dancing. Everybody has it. So it's kind of in the background. You don't make it a thing, You want to make sure it's
you're good.
Okay. You don't make it a thing. So you want to make sure that you're supportive when they have these things. I've had a lot of teachers contact me from different elementary schools that'll say that the child has gone in, to another room and come back and said that they saw a spirit, maybe in another room or in the bathroom. And how does the teacher handle it? Again, you don't say to them, "That's nonsense, don't talk about it." You just kind of go, "Oh, okay, how did it make you feel?" And then the bigger part of all of this, even with the night terrors, is you empower that child. So they're going to have it their whole lives. They're going to be 20 years old and move to Boston, and they're going to move into an old building, and while they're in Boston, they're going to wind up seeing spirits, and then they're going to remember all over again, like, didn't I do this when I was 5 years old? I saw spirits. So what you want to do is give them the right tools, empower them for the rest of their lives. I mean, now there's books on it, but when we were growing up, nobody really talked about that kind of stuff. That was kind of hoogity boogity. So, and that's a technical term.
Hoogity boogity.
Hoogity boogity. I tell everybody that they can actually say out loud or in their heads when they're kids, that, this is their space. And if a spirit especially is bothering them, that spirit needs to leave, needs to go. They need to start their day, especially if they're empathetic children, with the Good Witch of the West bubble. So they have that bubble around them so that everybody else's goo and energy isn't constantly attaching to them or making them feel sad or needing to deal with other people's problems all the time. And that's pretty, powerful when you think about when they become teenagers, and there's so much more of that kind of lowers their vibration. Mm-hmm. They learn that when they're young to kind of take control of all of it around
And
them.
when they talk to spirits, should they be firm or anything?
Oh, yes. It should be just, it should be exactly like stranger danger. So if they are not happy about the spirit showing up, they should say, you need to go now. This is my house, and, my mommy and daddy don't want you here, or however they want to word it, but you're not allowed here. And they can actually say, you're dead, you need to go. If that's somebody that's just not a family member, like just a random wanderer. And that happens a lot of times in older buildings. So that's the other part of it. And the other thing you can do is you can teach your child how to smudge. And smudging, again, is where you use sage or Palo Santo. You can do things like salt the property if your child is saying, and have them do it with you so they have the tools. Not making it a scary thing, but especially if you're a religious-based family, there may be things that can go back to your own religion that deal with these things. But it doesn't make them strange, and it doesn't make them outside of the norm. I think that everybody has it. It's just that everybody doesn't talk about it. And everybody doesn't talk about their kid that sees, oh, he's got this special friend, that's over in our house. His name is Harold, and we talk to this special friend. Not everybody talks about that. They probably do more now than they ever did before, correct?
Correct.
So, especially tonight is new moon. It's the November new moon, which is in Scorpio, and it's all about love and forgiveness and being able to move forward. So I want to hear good stuff about you guys releasing the negative from your life to be able to move forward. And so please make sure that you send in more questions if you have them for me. But truly, truly, you got this with your kids. If you need to read up on more about indigo children or your children having ability, one great source, Doreen Virtue wrote a lot about indigo children and crystal children. Another one of my favorite books is The Complete Idiot's Guide to Indigo Children. Use it like a Bible, and you might even be able to get some of the tapes online for that. You may want to even have your child meditate, which is wonderful because it helps calm them. And again, it's an empowerment for them to take forward with their life. I mean, nothing comes bad from meditation. What else? I want to say a special thank you to Donna Levine and for always having my back and being my corporate sponsor. I love you, Donna. Thank you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And
a lot of fun events coming up.
I have a lot of fun events coming up. We have a sold-out event coming up this weekend at the Bull's Head Inn. And so I'm looking forward to going back to the Bull's Head Inn. And then December 5th, I have the Rivers Casino. So the tickets are on sale. I have 2 shows, 2 different times. So check out the times and get your tickets because I sell out fast there. And we're already working on what my dress will be for that event. It's kind of like a Christmas show, extravaganza. And then December 12th, I have Grapevine Farms. And love going back to Grapevine Farms, and you can do some shopping and then have some good eats afterwards. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and please like my YouTube channel and Psychic on the Scene. And I want to say a special thank you to Hillary and all the gals that work with me, and Jeff DeMarco too. So I've got Amanda, I want to say thank you. Noreen, I want to say thank you. Hillary, Delaney, Denise, who's my #1 bitch. And, of course, Jeff. So, guys, thanks so much, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Mwah.